Ottoman music. Ottoman music. Ottoman music. Ottoman music. Ottoman music. Ottoman music.
Got a minute and a half here before we go live here on BB. Get your beers. Get ready. Got some 3 great fights that we're going to be rewatching here on Beer Boxing Quarantine.
Ottoman music. Ottoman music.
Okay, welcome back, man, to another edition of Beer Boxing and Quarantine. I'm your host, Dave Duenas, with my partner, Johnny Joe Glass Zig. What's going on, Johnny?
What's up, David? How we doing tonight, brother? Thank you for having me back.
Oh, we're doing. So we're gonna have three great classic fights here on beer, boxing, and quarantine. I don't know about you guys, but I got my brewskis ready here. I'm having the Firestone Union Jack and IPA. What are you having, John? Are you having the same thing, John? What are you having?
I got the
Got it.
Coors
Coors.
Banquet in tribute to Cobra Kai. I've been watching a lot of martial arts movies and also television shows like the Cobra Kai show. So in a tribute to Johnny Lawrence and Cobra Kai never dies. Bottoms up.
Yo, man. Well, I'm gonna tell you what. If I can pull it up here. I don't know why I can't get it up here.
You might not want to say that too often, David.
I'm telling you. Okay, so I'm going to be pulling up the first fight here. I don't know why. I had it all set up, and all of a sudden it just went cuckoo on me. It never fails. I don't know why, but let me see where it's at.
Well, of course, as of right now, while David works on the tech side of things, hello over there, Jose Mendoza. Salute from Texas. He's in Texas. I'm going to say salute from Vegas, buddy. Cheers. Salute to you. So we'll kill some time. We got a great lineup for you guys tonight. David, what fight do you guys want to? What fight would you like to start with tonight?
Well, I'm trying to pull it up right now, which I don't know why it's not pulling up. All right, let's go with Juan Manuel Lopez first, and then I'll figure out what's going on with the Naseem Hamed and Augie Sanchez. But first one up is going to be Juan Manuel Lopez versus Orlando Salcido Siri. And a great classic matchup between Puerto Rico versus Mexico. You got to remember this. Lopez was blowing everybody out. He was the factor. A lot of folks believed that he was going to be carrying the torch after Tito Trinidad. Miguel Cotto really just didn't attract the island. There was a lot of fans that I've spoken to that were Puerto Rican at the time that just for some reason they didn't they just didn't feel like he represented them completely. Lopez, on the other hand, had more of that charisma that they were looking for.
Well, I tell you what, Wama going into this fight was 30-0 with 27 KOs. And they actually fought this fight in Puerto Rico for the WBO title, Wama's title. Orlando Salido, we knew, man, always going in. He's going to give you one hell of a fight. And don't be deceived by that record going into this fight at 34-11-2, 1-0 decision, 22 KOs.
Right.
That Orlando Salido is always going to bring the ruckus. He's going to bring the fireworks.
Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing is that when Orlando, when it was announced that they were going to be facing each other, let's not forget this, that Orlando was already a journeyman, which a lot of folks felt that it was kind of disrespectful to call him a journeyman. But there was really no other way of putting it. I mean, he was a guy that had tons of fights, has been around in the circuit for many, many years, but nobody thought that he was going to last against the very classic 1-2 puncher, Wama Lopez, just because the fact that Wama Lopez was just knocking out guys with ease. I mean, he just looked perfect, technically sound, had a great jab, phenomenal right, straight right, left hook. So this was a fight to really honestly, in my opinion, when this was announced, because I had both guys on leaving the ring before the fight, for they could talk about each other and what their strategy was going to be about. But my opinion, I felt that it was going to be an all-out war, but I thought it was going to be a short night. And I think I was with everybody in terms of believing that Wama was going to always be the favorite. I mean, he was the favorite, right? I mean, that was the thought for everybody. He was the favorite of this fight.
Yes, he was going in. And if you look at, I think it was a fight or maybe two before this one when Wama fought Rogers Matagua in one hell of a fight where he took a lot of punishment. He showed a lot of heart, and resolve against a seasoned veteran in Motagua. And this fight, I was so looking forward to it going in. I loved it on paper. Anytime, Salido, I'm not going to make, don't get it twisted, bro. He's my boy. Like, he's one of my favorite fighters of our era that I enjoyed watching. And this is one hell of a fight, and I loved it going in.
Yeah, definitely, man. So going with the Coors is what you're going with, and I'm going with an IPA. I'm not really an IPA guy, but I do like 805, which is that's what Firestone makes. And it was on a variety pack, and I was like, what the hell? Why not, right?
I was going to say, don't you have to grow out a longer beard for the IPAs? And like a little bit of a man bun, perhaps?
Right. I'm not even supposed to have any of this, because what I do is that they want you to have all clean cut, clean face, all shaved and all that. But since we're on the quarantine, does it really matter if I grow any hair facial? Doesn't. I don't think so.
It's funny. My stepdaughter wants me to shave off my little chin strap I got going on over here. And the reason why I grow it out, guys, it don't matter what my weight is. I have a double chin. So I'm insecure about this double chin. So we'll talk about some funny stuff on the air nowadays, guys, to fill space, But so the reason why I've always had this since I was about 18, 19 years old.
I thought it was because
to cover up
glass jaw.
Well, that too. We'll get to that a little bit later. But for real, like, it didn't matter even when I fought at 139 pounds, which was the amateur weight I fought at. No matter how skinny I got, I just always had that baby face. It bothered me.
I mean, you got that Corey Fieldman look, to tell you the truth. You know what I mean? The baby face, and I don't know. Sometimes the hair facial throws me off, man. If I was walking by you and I just made like a quick glance, I would like glance twice, because I would be like, why does that 12-year-old have hair facial already?
What's great at 41, man, I still get carded. That's a good look.
I believe it, bro. I'm telling you, man. You got that Corey Feldman blood in you.
When I shave, I'm telling you, when I shave, bro, it's wacky, dude. It's wacky. The only thing that throws it off is the gray hairs. It's like a lot of grays. Like I said,
right.
What was it last week about Paulie Walnuts from The Sopranos? I got the double grays on the side over here now.
Right. No, tell me about it. I remember one time I got carded at Save Mart, and the young lady was like, I got to see your ID. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah. So I felt good about myself. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because she was probably like 21, 22. I don't even know. Right. And she had to be, because she was selling me alcohol. Right. So I hand her over my ID. She looks at it, and she looks at the birthday, and she goes, oh, my dad is born on the same year. I mean, you talk about pumping my ego and then popping it really quick like a balloon, Johnny. That was brutal, man.
I'm telling you what, it can be, man. But
well, here we go. 27 years old, 30 years old. Lopez is 5'5.5", and Salcido's 5'6". They both weighed in at 125, and Salcido 126. 68 reach advantage, 1 inch above Salcido. So this is going to be a barn burner, folks. So have your beers close to you. Make sure you're double fisted for this. For this one.
Absolutely, man. What a great fight this was. And whenever you have against Salido and Juanma Lopez, always brought it as well. And a lot of heart and determination in both guys. And that's what we get here. And that's what you guys are going to witness in this fight. Classic fight from 2011, I believe it was. In Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, the crowd was electric too. I remember like the ring walkouts where when Juanma came out, he just sounded like the reception made it sound like he was a rock star. He just got such a great reception over there at this point in time. And right now they're obviously just doing the introductions, which, obviously, again, had a big pop off.
How you been doing anyways on your fight night, man? Are you still getting laid out? Dude, I actually forgot to tell you. I ended up figuring out how to go online. And I
you did?
Yeah, I got on there, and I was only able to do like the heavyweight deal, right? I just jumped on really quick, and this freaking kid picked Foster right away, and I was like, I'll take Muhammad Ali, right? And then dude knocks me out in the second round. I mean, with one punch. I mean, I was beating the crap out of him, but no matter what I did, it did no damage to him. But he hit me maybe 3 or 4 times in the first round, and I was all beat up already. My face was all bruised up. I mean, what kind of shit is that?
You're telling me I got the glass jaw. Number one, why didn't you tell me about this? I know, because you didn't want this smoke. You didn't want this Johnny Six smoke. I played and I still continue to lose. So I went back to GTA 5, and most of my nights are occupied with me now watching a lot of Steven Seagal movies. Like I did Mark for Death last night. I did Out for Justice. And let me say this, man, going back to those movies, and I've seen them tons of times.
Wow. No, Mark for Death, wasn't it? Mark for Death.
Yeah, with Screwface.
Yeah.
Yep. Screwface. Mark for Death. Yep.
Yeah.
And then Out for Justice was the other one. When he was going after the mafia and who did Bobby Lupo and all that. And
anybody know
what a great movie that was.
That was a great scene.
Anybody know why Richie did Bobby Lupo? It's amazing. And the thing is, like I had an epiphany last night. I'm watching this. I'm like, Steven Seagal, what stands out for me about his movies is that his finishes, his kills are so nasty, dude. Like, it doesn't matter if they were just like a henchman or like the main bad, like he went for that kill. He went for it hard.
Gee, boy, you're going with those big boys right there, big guns right there. Getting a workout.
32 ounce, bro. Bringing out the big guns tonight.
Right
Speaking about the guns, both of these guys were in tremendous shape here.
Oh, dude, I was so pumped up for this fight. I mean, it was It was one of those that you knew was going to be something else, man. Because if you follow Salido, I mean, you knew this guy was just blood and guts, and and he put everything on the line and stuff. Really underrated champion out of Mexico, and I had the pleasure of speaking to him numerous times on throughout the years of leaving the ring. Even with Juan Lopez, man, really humble guy, and really connected with Puerto Rico, the island. I mean, just really, really connected. So first of all, this was really ballsy for Siri to even go to Puerto Rico and fight Lopez. But he had no leg to stand on. I mean, he was considered the B-class fighter in this fight. He was an opponent. And really, this Salido was just a guy that was supposed to be a warm body for Lopez to look good against, because everybody was waiting and salivating for a Juan Lopez versus a Yorkis Gamboa, which never happened. That fight never took place, man.
It's a shame it didn't, and that would have been a tremendous fight, especially around this point in time. And one thing I will say about Salido, whenever I think about him as the dream killer. Like, the guy that would come in and just like offset like people's dreams about like
wife,
But for real, this guy always showed up, and when he had a right training camp, and he was a fighter that was willing to do multiple weight classes and take fights on short notice, and actually started his career with a very bad record, and learned on the job essentially, and he was like that lunch pail to work guy, and that's why I always liked Salido, and he's always been one of my favorite fighters to watch over the past 30 years I've been watching boxing.
I liked watching both guys. I mean, even Wama, he went out there to really just take your head off your shoulders. So really, really fun to watch. So that's why I knew this was going to be really good. You were just hoping that it wasn't going to end at a short night. You thought, everybody was hoping we were going to get some good action. And guess what? We end up getting some great, great action. So they're about to start here, getting down to the nitty gritty. Let me try to see if I can fast forward just a little bit here. Nah, I better not even touch it because I might fuck it up.
Yeah, I was gonna say leave it be, man.
Yeah.
They had a long intro here. I remember that being the case because of the reception.
I forgot it was
from,
gonna have
his
a long
public
intro too. But yeah, no, the reception was phenomenal. Really.
from the Puerto Rican contingency, big time as expected, and that's what you're getting here. And guys, go back and watch it with some audio too, and you'll see exactly what we're talking about. The decibel level, the volume of the crowd was so appreciative and so excited to see Juanma in this fight.
All right, 20 minutes into the show. I'm on to my second. How about you there, Johnny? I mean, you got a big old one. You got what, like 4 beers?
I got a 32, but you talked about double fisting.
Yeah.
So I also got I got what I called my root toot. My root toot over here. A root toot for me is a vodka club soda.
That's the pinky drink there?
That's it. This is the pinky special. The root toot. That's what's up, buddy. Cheers. Salute, everybody. I hope everyone is well and getting through this, and I hope everyone's family is doing tremendous.
Yeah. Yes, most definitely. You see Devin Haney's getting just attacked by everyone, calling him a racist about some of the things that he said in an interview. I don't know who he did the interview with. I just saw like clips of it where he pulled the Bernard Hopkins. No white boy is going to beat me. I wouldn't let a white boy beat me. Did you see that?
I did. And my thoughts on it briefly is that, he's just out there trying to keep his name relevant, getting the news, and, regardless of what someone feels about if it's a stereotype.
Caucasian, so you're giving him a pass. Is that what you're saying? You're going to give him a pass?
I'm giving him a pass based on the fact that, A, I like him. B, I understand, that I don't think he was being racist. Maybe he was stereotyping a little bit, But the bottom line for me is that people are trying to jockey for a position to stay relevant. Now, I'm not saying go out there and say ridiculous things, people. Try to keep it classy. I could see how some people take it the wrong way. But at the end of the day, I don't think he meant any, really ill harm on it. I think he's just trying to keep his name relevant because bottom line is nobody's name is really relevant because no one's doing shit right now but staying home,
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, here's the thing is that with boxing, race baiting has been a thing from the beginning. I mean, I think of every race or culture, they've all said something about somebody in boxing, and right now they're just filling each other out, in the first round that just started.
I mean, even when we listen to old school HBO broadcasts and they say like a Mexican type fighter, a European type fighter, this and that, and the list goes on and on. I mean, some people could look at that and be like, "Whoa, what is that supposed to mean?"
Well,
at the end of the day,
I'll tell you this though. Here's the thing: is that when you're surrounded by your own people, you tend to become a little bit more comfortable, kind of spewing some stuff that are more like a circle racism. I mean, look, come on, let's be honest here. I mean, he didn't say, I will never let no brother beat me. He said, I will never let a white boy beat me, which he was meaning Vasily Lomachenko. Did he get a bit too comfortable in that interview because he was talking to another black guy? Fucking A, he was. He got that comfortable, right?
I'm going to have to agree there. And, also I think he wanted to play, like, for lack of a better expression, telephone tough guy, keyboard warrior. He wants Lomachenko to get, pissed off. He wants to get under his skin. Eventually, when the world resumes, what he's trying to do is get into a position to get that big fight. And how do you get a big fight with someone? You could piss them off. You make them want to fight you. And, I don't think Devin Haney has any, racism towards white people. I just think that was something he was doing and might have got a little too comfortable, might have gotten a little too loose, might have ruffled some feathers. But speaking of ruffling feathers, I mean, these guys start off, pretty intense with here that we're watching with Salido and Juanma Lopez. And what a great fight this ends up being. And I just love the fact that Salido is always just trying to get his position in. And Juanma, using his legs really well. He's got that southpaw stance, which I think gave Salido some trouble.
Well, here's the thing about Salido is that there's no hidden agenda. There's no surprise. He is who he is. And the same thing with Wama. You knew that he's a good counter puncher. You know that if you decide to make him fight, he's gonna fight. And right now, you're seeing that immediately between these two. The internet, I think, is a little slow because the video seems a little bit slow to me. I don't know about on your end over there.
Yeah, it's grainy. It's a little choppy, guys. So basically, bear with us. We're always, trying to give you guys a better experience visually and audio wise on your side. However, you're listening and watching rather. But yeah, it's a little slow.
Yeah, it
But
might be the
hopefully
internet. I mean, I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of issues. Let's talk. Let's sidetrack for a moment. Is that for my job right now, I'm online about 8 to 10 hours a day, Monday through Friday. Doing my music lessons and whatnot. And some days are really good days, and some days are really bad days because servers, are crashing, and a lot of people are constantly jumping on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, they are.
And sucking it dry. Yeah. So it depends on sometimes the point of time you do things throughout the course of a day, or just how the internet feels that day. I mean, I pay top dollar for my provider with Cox out here in Vegas, and it doesn't matter. Some days it's smooth sailing, and some days it's just not. But about this fight here, guys, in round one, I felt like Wama did enough to make Salido have to think and try to find his position. And it seemed like Salido was just having some difficulty dealing with Wama's angles and also the straight left hand from that southpaw stance.
See, I'm gonna tell you what I got off this first round right now was just finally ended. It looked to me that Wama finally realized that he was in for a real fight. That everything that he was told about Salido, whether it was good or bad, it was in truth. So I'm gonna try to fast forward just around.
Yeah, do your thing, buddy. And I could see what you're saying there, because whenever you're messing with Salido, even if he's going to lose a round or even a fight, you know that you're in a fight, because he's going to be all up in your grill, and he ain't going to let you chill, brother. Like, he's going to be all up in there doing his thing. And there's no doubt about it. And in that first round, you can see the indication that Lopez knew, man, I'm in with a warrior.
He knew. He goes, you could see it. Even when he was throwing his punches, it was easy to tag him, but Salido in that first round answered right back to him to let him know, like, hey, I'm here. I'm a live body. You're not going to be able to frighten me with your power. I'm going to meet you for punch.
There's no doubt about it. And that's what Salido does. And whenever, like, you go into a fight with a guy like this, I remember, like, I was watching this, recapping some highlights today, and I told my girlfriend, like, there's a few fighters, like, I'm not trying to sound like all brave over here now, like Mr. Italian after seeing Rocky, but there's few guys that, like, I'd be really concerned about fighting, because I know their power, or I know, like, how good they are and how savvy they are. Salido's certainly one of them. Even for, like, a nice paycheck, I'd be kind of apprehensive to fight this man. Like, he will take you to the pits of hell. And we're starting here. What is this now? We got round 2 up. Okay, it looks like we're running a little bit smoother, David. I mean, it's still a little, lagging, but we'll make it work. And, bottom line again is the nice jab and the angles here by Wanma.
Yeah, it is running really slow, too, because even in the chat room, I'm not even seeing the comments, but really quick, Jose Mendoza said, good night, guys. Midnight out here. Need to work mañana. Already gave you guys a thumbs up. Thank you, Jose Mendoza. Appreciate it. Saludas from Dallas, Texas.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother, for the appreciation and support. There is no doubt. Absolutely. Appreciate everyone listening, joining, chatting, and checking out this great fight here that we have. Again, like, the thing about Wanma in this fight, like, you see his back and Salido up a little bit, nice jab. He was starting to get himself in a position to put, like, a nice path together to hopefully in his verbally run through it.
Okay, we're back up live here, man.
Awesome.
So let me get back.
Welcome back, everybody. All right, so what we're doing is working through some tech issues, and we swear this has nothing to do with the beer. We just started drinking beer about 20 minutes ago. So this is just the internet being the internet.
Yeah, big time. It's just one
Oh,
of those
dude,
nights.
I go through it every single day. Yeah, sometimes it runs smooth. Like the past couple we've done have been like pure, smoothness, straight up gold with streaming and audio and video. And some nights, unfortunately, you're going to have issues, and especially like nowadays, like I was saying, with the internet being so out of control, with everyone just overloading servers, this will be a standard thing. But we back, like David just said, we're back.
We're back, but we're not getting. Yeah, okay. We're gonna have to just work out through everything, guys. I apologize if we can't throw your comments up on the screen here. It's just not. It's not working for us right now, for some reason.
Yeah, we apologize, and hopefully at some point we'll be able to straighten this out. But I don't think it's even on our
It's
end.
not on our end. It's the internet
No, it's
itself.
not on
So
our end, yeah. Absolutely. All right, so they're recapping here some exchanges, and what I loved about this fight, my takeaway from this fight was the inside exchanges. I mean, these guys were so willing to just stand right there, and when you see a southpaw and a conventional fighter exchange like that, you're going to see some vulnerabilities in both guys because of the difference in the approach and their stance. And we certainly see them get hit pretty hard there in that second round, and a foreshadow of things to come down the stretch.
here we go in round 3 between Wama and Salido. All right.
Again, we got Juanma starting with the jab, and again, those angles, I think, really pissed off Salido in the early stages of this fight. And, I got the fight 1-1 right now. I gave Juanma the first. I got it 2-0. I gave Juanma, I'm looking at my
I don't think Salido was pissed off. I think if anything, Salido's just trying to find the kink in the chain of what Walmart does, and you could see immediately because Salido's such a rough, rugged fighter, Mexican fighter, that when he comes in with his head in, that frustrates Walmart because not only does he have to worry about the two hands that Salido's throwing, he's got to worry about that third fist, which is the forehead of Salido coming in down the pipe towards Walmart's face.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And at this point,
beautiful right hand,
third round,
landed right now.
Yeah,
beautiful right hand, and just the way that Walmart returns right after that immediately, and that's why I knew that this fight was going to be something. At the time when they announced it, we didn't know how much of it, how special it was going to be, but you knew that he was going to fight a guy that's been down that trench and also will drag you to that trench. And that was something that a lot of us wanted to see from Walmart. And because of both countrymen, Puerto Rico and Mexico, we knew that anytime both of these Latinos get in the ring, hey man, they always produce. Every single time out, they always, especially when you have a crowd of your countrymen behind you, both guys are going to try to prove something. One's going to actually try to, satisfy the carnage that his countrymen are rooting for, and the other guy is the underdog, is trying to prove the fighter in front of him wrong, and it always spells for a great matchup between Mexico and Puerto Rico.
Oh, absolutely, man. It's always been a huge rivalry in boxing, and one I've always looked forward to. And when this fight again was, thrown down on paper on Showtime Boxing back in the day, I was so excited for this, and I actually bet on Salido because
did you?
I had
how much did you bet on?
Yes, I did.
How much?
$500.
What?
500.
500. Holy shit.
Yeah, man.
Damn,
I felt
you
confident.
big old baller, you.
I don't want to give out any spoilers, so I'm gonna shut my mouth right now. And I was gonna save this for the end. We'll talk.
Damn, big 5G, dude. That's pretty ballsy there. I'm gonna have to change the name from Johnny Joe Glass Cigarella to Johnny Big Cojones.
I got more on that later. We'll talk about that one later too.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I always like Salido. All right, so here we go. We're in the third round, and we're about to close out
Dude,
the third round.
how
And I think this
precise.
is where Salido.
How precise is Lopez, man, when being in a softball stance? I mean, look, boom, boom, just lands, but goddamn, Salido's just right all over him. And they're throwing some heavy, heavy exchanges between the two. I mean, wow, 3 rounds in, and you've had a lot of action so far.
It's a heavy inside fight. Both guys winding up, and again, I think because the different stances, orthodox and southpaw, leads to some vulnerability. That I mean, obviously, orthodox fighters are used to fighting orthodox fighters. Southpaws have a little bit more of an advantage fighting the orthodox, but it's like you don't see certain shots coming because you train in the gym. If you're conventional like Salido is, for the like-minded stance that you have, so therefore you're vulnerable. And that's why we're seeing, I think, these wonderful exchanges here on the inside. And I think this is the first time, in my opinion, after a couple of rounds that we witnessed here, that Salido really is starting to show that he's starting to figure out how to cut off the ring a little bit and starting to land some bigger shots on Lopez.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit that notification so you know when we go live. Again, every Sunday night at 10 p.m. I know it's a little late for some folks, but for the people that are in quarantine they're not working right now, they're stuck at home. And for the ones that are just going to work, hey man, more kudos to you. I'm happy that there's some folks that are still able to go to work right now, and what's going on in our country and around the world. Actually, a lot of folks are not able to have that luxury. That one thing that a lot of us used to dread getting up. Everybody's to be like, fuck, Monday. The Monday blues. Now I think everybody's like, damn, I can't wait for the Monday blues to come back. But again, 10 p.m. here on Leaving the Ring YouTube channel. It's Beer Boxing Quarantine with myself, Dave Duenas, and Johnny Zig. We're watching the first fight between Juanma Lopez and Orlando Salido. A great fight that was placed in Puerto Rico. 2 men went out there, as you see so far, within 3 rounds right now. We got a lot of leather being thrown at each other.
Absolutely. Great inside fight and a lot of tactical things happening at the same time, even though it's explosive. Both guys trying to measure each other up and really figure out great tactics and how to work off each other. And that's why I like this fight. All the fights we're going to do tonight, there was great chemistry in the ring with all 3 fights that we're looking at here, with all 6 fighters involved. And that's what makes a great fight, David. Show us some good ones here.
Absolutely. What's up, D-Style? What's going on, brother? If we can't put up your comment up on the screen, there's something going on. The internet's really slow. That's why this fight looks like they're slow motion. I promise you these guys were not that slow. Salido was not the fastest guy, nor was Juanma, but they had very moderate speed, a lot quicker than this. Hopefully on the next video, which will be Brandon Rios versus Mike Alvarado, it could be a lot quicker. But right now, I don't know what's going on with the internet.
It is what it is, man. We all rolling with the punches nowadays. That's what I tell everybody. Just ride it out. If the internet seems a little slow, I tell them even my music lessons and whatnot. And just everything I'm doing when I FaceTime people and we're all trying to just figure this out and everyone's hitting that server, is I tell everyone, just roll with it. One day it's going to be, smooth, and one day it might not be smooth. And we got some glitches. But what's up, D-Style? What's going on, brother? Good to see you, homie. Welcome.
And this was certainly a fight that you watched right on the edge of your couch or edge of your seat or wherever you were sitting at. I remember I was just right there at the edge, and I soaked every punch that was being thrown because every punch was thrown with conviction. Boxing is always based on inches, and even with Juanma throwing that left hook, and it never really caught Salido cleanly in the first 3 rounds. Right now, it clipped him, which normally would be enough to put a guy down, put him on his ass. But Salido just was, I mean, Salido was known to be a very tough guy, a good chin. And even right there, look at that exchange between both guys landing their hooks. I mean, God, Salido took a step back, but immediately he just returned right back to his foot position and got right back in the mix with Wama. And Wama is just throwing everything but the sink at Salido at this moment. In the fourth round, 1 minute and 25 seconds.
I tell you what, man, both guys have tremendous chins. And I was talking about, Juanma's experience with Rogers Matagua before this. I was certain in that fight he was going to get knocked out in that last round. I could not understand how he survived it. And then even in this fight, too, we're going to see down the stretch, both guys take hell of shots on each other, man. Like, big-time power bombs. And this, when you're inside fighting like they are and putting full, torque on things. And
beautiful, man.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Theory right now is just putting in some good work. And this is when we knew that, okay, man, Wama is in trouble. 4 rounds in, and Salido's able to do what he wants. He's able to land some big shots, and there's tying up right now. But if I remember correct, Wama Lopez was a big puncher, which we've been talking about since the beginning of this broadcast. But Johnny, I mean, his chin was always up in the air. It was questionable, right?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. And also, one thing that Salido does, as we're seeing in this round, savvy veteran tactics. If you see what he's doing, he's grabbing him. He's just mucking him up. He's grabbing his arm and hitting, going a little bit low, going a little bit below the belt. But guess what? He's old school, like we were talking about before. He's going to do that. And unless the referee says something or the fighter does it back to him, guess what he's going to keep doing? He's going to keep doing that same tactic. See, right there. I don't know if you saw the same thing I just saw, but he's going after him, and it's a rough fight.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about a very classic close quarter, throwing from the elbow, making sure he doesn't widen up, give you a full target. Here's the thing. When you're talking about old school, a lot of these rugged Mexican fighters, what they traditionally will do if they're inside fighters is they make the other guy waste unwanted energy. And what I mean by that, by grabbing you so that you can pull away, try to put their head into your chest so that you move a little faster. They make your muscles flex a little quicker than you would want them. They make you not be comfortable. And the one thing about boxing, the one thing about being a professional fighter, and you're going to go the distance, if you're planning to go distance 12 rounds or not, is that you try to conserve as much energy as you can. And by doing so is trying to be comfortable in the ring, okay? And not try to expend energy that's unnecessary. And you can see right now, Salido is a very educated inside Mexican rugged fighter. He's making Walmart right now, expend energy that he doesn't need to do. A lot of times, if you watch other guys that are kind of used to the pressure, and that's why Floyd Mayweather, you got to give it to him because he traditionally would spar guys with a lot of pressure. He liked to spar guys that were bigger than him so that he became comfortable when you try to mold him up. And he learned this lesson when he fought Jose Luis Castillo. That's when he figured out, I got to fight guys that know how to fight in close, the phone booth style, and I can become comfortable with it. I can try to master it. And right now, Wama Lopez right now is starting to see that this guy is a lot more difficult, just by throwing big shots and landing big shots. But it's a lot more difficult to keep off of him because he knows how to come back. He knows how to close that distance immediately, even after getting hit with a big shot that should make his jaw jiggle a little bit and make his brain go, let me take a step back. But this is what a lot of these rugged Mexican fighters train to do.
Yeah, and they're forcing their opponent to try to adapt and put questions and challenges on them. And Juanma's definitely facing some questions and some challenges right now because of that pressure and because of the experience. Like when you face someone with experience that comes in with will and great conditioning, because if you look at Salido in this fight, his conditioning, he looked great. He wasn't too muscular, but at the same time, he didn't look loose. He looked very in shape and very prepared to do this type of performance that he's put on right now. But Wama also, doing his thing. He's just dealing with a lot of pressure. And, at this point in time, again, Wama at 30-0 with 27 KOs had every reason to believe that he could still be in this fight and adapt to the.
He was in this fight. Right now, we're in the fifth round. He's still in this fight. He's still landing big shots. But the one beauty and the one masterful thing that Orlando is doing is that every time, Lopez throws that straight left, Orlando is throwing a right uppercut right underneath and catching him in the edge of his rib cage. And you know what? That's keeping Wama at bay, and it's kind of making Wama hesitate to throw it out there. I mean, he just threw it out there a little while ago, 2 of them in a row. But it was more when Orlando was at a distance. He wasn't in punching range.
Yeah, that makes you reset whenever you have to stop like that and get hit with things you don't see, especially like that's kind of an unorthodox type of punch, but that's what I was talking about before with the different styles and looks. Perhaps like he's fought conventional people before. Southpaws usually have the advantage because there's not many southpaws that box, but maybe he never fought anyone that was like so good to the body delivery and especially shooting uppercuts to the body. That's something that's not a common practice thing since I'm going to say probably the 30s or 40s. You don't see that very often. You see certainly hooks and shots like, to the body, jabs and straights, but not really an uppercut. And that's a great observation, David, that I didn't recognize before, but I'm seeing it now. He's even doing it right there on cue with the right uppercut.
Well, I'm going to tell you why you don't see I'm going to tell you right now why you don't see a whole lot of that. These little subtle tricks, little punches, not little punches, but punches that nullify a guy's jab or their money punch is because of the pad work. A lot of the pad work now you see like they're like everything's super fancy. Okay, and all of that is just these punches to pity pat, pity pat, pity pat. Nothing's really set to make a punch count. When I would work with kids and work with my sons, I'd always tell them I would ask them, why are you throwing this punch? What's the reason you're throwing this punch? Is it because you're looking to land it to hurt them, or are you setting them up for another punch? What exactly are you doing? And a lot of times you got to teach kids in shadow boxing. When they're shadow boxing, you see kids just shadow box hella hard. Have you ever seen that? You go in the gym, they're just throwing their hands and they're trying to be as fast as they can because they're trying to impress all the observers outside of outside looking in, right? And I always tell them, like, look, practice makes perfect, but when you're doing the shit wrong and over and over and over, all you're doing is, and there goes Wama Lopez right now, getting dropped, man. Well, we were talking about why you don't see a whole lot. Look at him, man. He looks dazed right there. And he's just looking around at the crowd, and I think he's just about astonished. Look at the guy behind the ref right now with his hands up in the air like this. He's just like, oh, my God. He might have put $500 down, too, like you, Johnny. Just for the wrong guy, though, right there.
I tell you what, he got hit hard there.
Boom.
Salido with that inside shot. And I had to fight
7 seconds left to go here. 7 seconds left to go here, dude. Oh, my God. And you want to talk about being dropped at the right time to be saved. This is it. And Wama lands a beautiful left straight right into Orlando, but it doesn't do much because that was more just a fight of instincts right now, survival instincts for Wama. Dude, look at that, bro. That right there. Look at the way he slumps on those ropes right there. I mean, wow. Wow.
He looks like us after we do the podcast of Beer, Boxing, and Quarantine on Sunday nights, man. Like, he looks a little drunk at the club.
Oh, my God.
But, right there, you saw that body language?
Like, dude, that body language, just like what you said. I mean, look, I'd hate to be the coach right now who's whispering in his ear, bro, you got to get it together. Get it together. You got to wake up here. And they're still trying to wake him up here. I mean, they got the ice pack in the back of his neck. And here's the one thing that I hate to see. Everybody's crowding him. Dude, you got to let your man breathe, especially getting dropped. Right now, the way, boom, boom, look at that. Perfect, bam, beautiful, overhand right, which was set up by an uppercut. Yeah, and then the left hook, and then bang, just threw, classic 1, 2, 3 punch right there. Bah, bam. That blinded him. That uppercut blinded him big time, dude.
Wama's lucky that he fell down as fast as he did after that right, because that left hand would have cleaned him up and taken him out. I think permanently. Like right here, you got the jab, right hand, and then that left hook comes in and he misses it because Wama's falling. But if Wama had not fallen down there, that could have been really awful.
Right now, we're going into round number 6. We're going to see if the cobwebs have cleared. And like I mentioned, I hate to see the whole corner jump in there. You don't allow your guy who just got dropped, who's dazed big time, who came back slumping into the ring and dropped his head back onto the rope like it was a pillow. You're not giving him any airtime. You got to give him some oxygen. You got to let him breathe it all in. It doesn't take 5 or 6 guys to try to wake you up. Just your hands need to extend out. If you're going to put ice pack on the back of his neck, on his forehead, and pour some water, all you should be seeing is extended arms into the ring, not bodies.
I agree. Too much smothering. And like our buddies did at the State of Combat, they did a special on when Ray Torres was like, hey, put some water on his balls with the Morales fight. Throw some water on the testicles. Put an ice pack on the back of the neck, some water on the head. But you got to let your fighter breathe, man.
Yeah, you do.
It's too much. And plus that ensues panic. Like if you have too many people in your face asking you, are you okay? Are you okay? What's going on? It makes your anxiety raise. It makes you wonder, like, man, how messed up am I really here? So that's the situation here is how messed up is Wama.
Wama right now is getting touched, and he's getting touched very well. Like I said, the question was how good of a chin he has. I'll tell you right now, he has a pretty decent chin. I mean, he's getting rocked, but his fighting spirit is just there all the way. And it could be because of the crowd, and he's fighting for Puerto Rico, and he's put in everything he could to try to muster up to back up Salido with his punches. But Salido right now is just counting the seconds and the inches of being in the right place and distance of landing his big punches, as you can see.
We talk about corner work here. At some point, I feel like if I see a fighter's head snapping back like this and I see them, again, walking around looking like they're in a dazed state, almost borderline drunk, you got to wonder, like, when's the time to pull the plug? Like, I look at Wama's body language here, and I give him all the credit in the world. We know he's got heart. We saw him with the Rogers Motagua. Again, I keep bringing that up because we have a similar set of circumstances here. But this is like the fight's not about to end like it was in the Rogers Motagua fight. Like we're in the 6th round. Like there's plenty of action left. So I wonder about when is it the time to say, hey, man, maybe this is too much, but look at him.
Beautiful left hook. And I like what Orlando's doing. He's not bum rushing him. He's walking in patiently. He's not trying to, find out what is left in Lopez, which is a very smart thing because Lopez is still dangerous. He's still got power in that left hand of his. But right now, you can just see the body language of Lopez, man. I mean, he is just physically, not mentally, physically, he's being broken apart. Mentally, you can see he still wants to fight.
That's that.
And there goes. So right now, Siri just got rocked by a left hook by Lopez, and it shows you right there. It shows you right there how much of a fighting spirit that he has, man.
Oh, there's no doubt. This kid has heart, man. Lopez, I was always fascinated by his willingness to stand in there and the way he did and take punishment and still show resolve and fight back. Just tremendous stuff.
I think that big punch right now that Lopez landed, it made Siri just really kind of rethink his position. And again, I think that Siri as well, you talk about conditioning. This is where he's taking a second guess about it. He needs that second wind because he's thrown most of the punches in round 6 trying to take out Lopez and seeing that Lopez's legs are not letting the body swivel down to the canvas. I mean, that tells you too. When you're the guy that's landing the most punches, seeing the guy hurt, get wobbled, looks like he's on Queer Street, and he's not going anywhere, man, bro, that's got to take a toll to you too, mentally, not just to the guy that's getting, that's taking the big, huge shots.
There's no doubt. My father always told me, if you get into a fight and you hit someone with your best shot that you have and they don't go down, run. Get out of there.
My dad said, pick up a bat.
Exactly.
And then you go right there, Wama again. I mean, he looks more cleared eye. I think, again, there goes this corner there. I mean, did you talk about smothering him? You know, got to give the guy some oxygen. Should be pulling the. I don't know. Can you see if they're pulling the trunks to try to let his stomach for his diaphragm to pull in oxygen? Right now, I don't see that. I mean, he looks like a fish out of water at this moment.
You know what
man.
bothers me? What bothers me here is his eyes. I don't
Yeah,
like the way his eyes look. I don't like the way his eyes look at all.
Yeah, real
like, see that
sleepy.
there?
Looks sleepy.
Yeah, he looks like he wants to take a nap.
He looks like he's had. He looks like he has 2 big old Coors and Johnny Zig special.
The Cobra Kai.
The Cobra Kai.
The Cobra
Boom!
Kai.
Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful left hook, man. I'll be right back and got me another one.
Do it, David. All right, so we're going to head into the 8th round here, guys, in what has been a grueling fight. We're definitely seeing Lopez, showing a lot of resolve, and Salido doing what he does and just coming nonstop, just at his opponent relentlessly and landing some big shots.
Now we're going into the 7th round, and I'm going into my 3rd brewski here, which is a apricot.
What is
El Dorado.
At the tell us about
El Dorado series apricot. Actually, I just had it right now. It's pretty good. I didn't think I was gonna like it because I'm not into the little the fruit type of drinks, But this one's actually really good. I recommend this here, Johnny.
Say you got to put the pink
Firestone Walker.
Kind of fruit type of drinks, the fruit type of beers. You got to put the pink.
Are you calling me fruity?
But what kind of fruit is it?
Apricot.
Gotcha. I don't mind the what's the Blue Moon one with the orange. That's actually pretty refreshing. And of course, Corona.
Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah. Blue Moon. Yeah, I actually like that. I'll give you a trick though.
It's pretty damn
I'll tell
good.
you what. When you buy a bottle, a 6-pack, 12-pack, guys. Obviously, you got to ice it up really cold. Turn the bottle over the head, and let everything from the bottom fall down to the front. Then turn it over. Okay. Then open it. Don't shake it up. I'm not saying shake up your beer. Don't be
Stupid! You're so stupid!
okay. Just turn it back, pop it open, and you'll get all that citrus, and it'll taste even better. It tastes more refreshing. You won't have to throw that little orange in there, which really looks gay. It's like an umbrella. I don't know why guys do that. Every time I go somewhere, they'll go like, "Do you want an orange in your beer, sir?" No, I don't want an orange. I didn't order a fruit bowl. It's one of my beer. Leave me alone. You want an orange?
There's no doubt. And I tell you what, someone actually gave me a pumpkin beer one time.
Really, a pumpkin beer, huh?
They're like, you gotta try it, like a pumpkin flavored beer, and I'm like,
Wow.
dude, I don't want it. It's like, no, you gotta try it. You gotta try it. So I'm like, all right. At the very least, it's a free beer, so why not? This thing was the most disgusting
I bet.
beer I've ever drank in my entire life. And the best way to drink a pumpkin type beer is to just throw it away in the garbage. That's
Now
the only-
we see both guys getting a little bit dirty and desperate here, but these guys are just trying to really end this and make this a short night. And Siri's legs kind of buckled. I think it was because he maybe might have been slipping toward by the ring ropes, but.
No, he got hurt. I think he got hurt.
Yeah, it looked like he got hurt. Yeah, it looked like he got hurt. I tell you what, Walmart right now, from round 5 to 6, he looked like he was almost out of there. Now he looks like he's got his bearings back just a bit here, and he's starting to land some big shots. He's covering up, and now earmuffing, which earlier he wasn't doing. He was just trading whenever Orlando Siri decided to open up.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, desperation, it's going to make him want to fight, and because he knows he's hurt. So when you back someone in a corner and you're about to get, physically damaged, what else can you do if you have the balls to do it? And there's no doubt Juanma's got the fucking balls for days.
The only thing
to
right
fight
now is
back.
you can see with Walmart, there's a lot of arm punches, and that really is because of being dazed, some body shots, those uppercut shots that Orlando's been landing. It does take out a lot out of you, and you can see that in a lot of ways with the watch. Just watch what he's gonna throw right now from Walmart Lopez. It just looks like arm punches with a push, like he's pushing his punches to go forward. They're just not snapping. They don't look like they're just naturally snapping out there.
Yeah, I mean, he's so fatigued and hurt. And God only knows how many versions of Salido he sees in front of him, doubled vision maybe. Like, you guys got to understand, like, he's probably feeling that of a drunk person that's reflexes have been totally diminished. And this is why we say don't drink and drive and all that type of stuff. Like, right now, what's going on mentally with Juanma has got to be very tough, but I got to give him all the credit, dude.
Well, he just finished the round right now really strong. Walmart.
Yeah, yeah, he did.
Being as drunk as he looked, he finished pretty strong. And like I said, he looked more drunk in the 5th and 6th round. Right now, he looked like he's had that cup of dark coffee. It's been sobering him up. He finished that round pretty decent, finished it strong. I thought he got the upper hand on Orlando. I thought Orlando kind of stepped off the gas, and it could have been because he did get hurt in that round, because, again, you got to look at Orlando's work ethic in there for the past, from the past 1 to 6. He's been coming forward, been letting his hands go. And here you see right now, Walma's just letting his hands go and showing him, hey, I'm still in the fight. I'm still here to hurt you.
Great observation. And after the second round, Salido kind of changed the tide of it and became more of an aggressor and figured out the southpaw and the angles that Juanma, he's got good angles. He's really clever with the way he positions himself and throws, and plus he has power, which commands a lot of respect. So you think twice before you go in. But, with Salido, I think the last, obviously, 5 rounds we just watched here definitely imposes will. We could probably give Juanma a round in that mix going into the 8th here. But I like the courage, man. I got to give Juanma all the respect in the world for the balls and intestinal fortitude. It's ridiculous.
Going into the 8th round, I mean, I think you have to give Juanma three of the 8 rounds, and you got to give 5 to Siri at the moment. But here comes back Siri, and I think the big mistake that Juanma was doing, because he believed in his power so much, is he allowed he allowed Siri to walk in, to close that distance. He didn't make him work for it, And if you watch him again, here comes Siri. He's just walking in, and there is no jab from Lopez, and that's because he was really banking on his power to back up Orlando. After the 3rd round, his corner should have said, "Hey, stop letting him walk in. You got to keep him outside of the end of your punches because that's where you're mostly strong." His game plan is to be an inside phone booth style. That's where he's going to be successful. And that's where he's been successful. And here we go again. Juanma looking sloppy because he's getting tagged and he's getting hurt. And this is when you see a very technically sound guy, which we've seen in the past. I mean, this guy throws down the pipe. You start seeing him starting to frail his punches. It's because he's hurt. And right there you saw it again. Man, his body language is just, it's being shook. And the ref is looking closely. Look, oh my God, bro. Right there, the ref should have probably already stepped in. I mean, he's just getting tagged with every punch that Orlando Salido's throwing at this moment.
No, there's no doubt. I mean, he's literally.
Dude, it's keeping him up.
His hands are down. Yeah, it's terrible. If I'm in the corner, I throw in the towel.
That's
I don't know his people.
That's it.
Juanma. Right. The referee came in, thankfully. But, I got to wonder sometimes, man, how much do these corner people care? I don't know Juanma's situation, but if I'm watching that and I have someone that I care about after a grueling fight like that, going into the 8th round against a seasoned veteran that is landing virtually every shot he's throwing on you and making your neck snap back, I'm like, I got to stop this. There's no doubt. That's crazy. that was one brutal stoppage and beating that Juan Ma took there. And I don't
I mean,
think
look
I've
at
ever
his
seen
face
that
right
before.
there. He's even confused. He's like, I lost? I got beat?
Watch, he's gonna fall back here. I remember this. I remember this from back. Yeah, see him? They're propping him
Yep.
up. You see that? And the thing is, like, Juan Ma was never the same after this. Ever the same. I think they let this one go.
Well, they did
on
fight a
one
second
round
time.
too long.
They did fight a second time, but it was again the
Yes,
same
sir.
result.
Yes, sir. Second fight, I think it was a 10th round stoppage for Salido.
I don't remember, man. I would have to go back. Greatest Salido win, in my opinion, even bigger than the Loma fight because it was only Loma's second win. Yeah, man, I gotta agree with you. Here.
This is why I said Salido is the dream killer, man. How many times have we seen him do this to young kids, that are up and coming and on top of the world, and then Salido comes in and just says, "Nah, bro, I had."
He's that one dude that comes in and just slaps that beer right out of your hand.
He's fucking Freddy Krueger, dude. He comes in your
What's that? Hey, what's that big ass brother that goes up and goes, "Oh, Tyrone, I'm Tyrone," and then he slaps a cigarette out of your hand?
That's Salido, bro.
That's Salido right
trying
there.
to say before, I ain't trying to mess with someone like Orlando Salido.
Yep.
For some people I know, like it's like you think about as a former fighter or whatever. I'm like, all right, I know this person has got a certain slickster style that can make me look bad. They can beat me up. No, Salido will fuck you up. There's a difference, man.
I think on that second round is when Lopez was like,
it was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Here we go on with the second fight here on Beer Boxing Quarantine. And you got Brandon Rios versus Mike Alvarado, Mile High. And this was really a very anticipated fight. And this is a little backstory here. Is Alvarado's team had told me the fight was signed, and I tweeted it out when the fight was signed. And Brandon Rios got really pissed off at me, him and his whole camp, because I broke the story because they wanted to pick their reporter at the time to break the story. But I had got a hold of it because of Mike Alvarado, a Mile High, and his team, who I talked to frequent at that time, and they said, "Hey, yeah, it's signed. Go ahead." And I broke it on Leaving the Ring, and then this fight happens. And everybody knew this was going to be a hell of a fight, a war.
We're taking you back to 2012 here, junior welterweights, Brandon Rios, Mikey Alvarado. At the time, Rios was 30-0 with one draw, and Alvarado was 33-0. And this was like that kind of Mortal Kombat mirror match that like a Gotti Ward was for me.
Right.
When I saw this being talked about on paper, like, honestly, dude, I was like, wow, I could not wait for this. And it was back in the day on Boxing After Dark and a co-feature. And I'm like, man,
right,
this is incredible. Like, I remember exactly where I was when I was watching this fight. And it's one of those fights because I know, how much it meant to the people, like you were talking about, and coming together. And it's a boxing fans fight, guys, is what I'm trying to get at. And if I seem distracted right now, I'm just watching how this first round starts out, and I'm like, man, these guys did not wait. They didn't.
No, they didn't. And we knew that's why we knew this was going to be such a great matchup. I had a chance to go see Brandon Rios train. Not for this fight. I can't remember what he was fighting for. I think it was for Victor something. I can't remember the guy's name. But the way you see him fight on fight night is the way he sparred. Same guy. Let his hands go. Seek and destroyed. He kept his hands up high, but really just didn't care whether you're going to touch him or not because he knew in his head, I'm going to break you apart no matter what. Now, going in with the Mike Alvarado fight, here Mike was really high. Everybody was high on Mike, because of his style as well. But the talk was, could Brandon Rios, because we've seen Brandon Rios bully guys at 135, was he going to be able to move up and bully a guy like Mike Alvarado? And right now, you can see both guys. Mike Alvarado's not being bullied. He's holding his ground, and he's throwing shot for shot what Brandon Rios is doing. And these guys were mirrors of each other.
That's why I refer to it as that Mortal Kombat mirror match type thing. Like sometimes you see fights on paper and you're like, and you picture it, you're like, oh man, this is going to be hell to pay for both guys. And I knew that this one was going to be one of them. And in this particular fight, the one thing that stands out to me that I remember the most while watching it, it's almost impossible to score these rounds. It's crazy how close all these rounds are contested. And it's almost a situation where I could see someone saying, well, I had Rios winning just about every round, or I had Alvarado winning just about every round, or I had it even. I'm like, I get it. It's insanity.
Yeah, man, look at them. They're just letting their hands go. And it's right there, right in close, it's, when you talk about fight of the century, you talk about Diego Corrales and Jose Luis Castillo. They were right there in the pocket. But what made the Castillo fight more special was the Chico being dropped and the mouthpiece. That made a whole story. But this here, really, honestly, it's almost equal because these guys are throwing big shots at each other. And there's not a very difference in size. There's not a big difference in size. Maybe inches in height, an inch or two with Mike Alvarado, but size-wise, length-wise, bicep-wise, everything right now, punch for punch, is being matched between the two.
I tell everyone this is that, Castillo Corrales 1 is a 10, Gotti Ward 1 is a 9, and this one's an 8.5, which mad respect. I mean, this is right up there, either which way you want to swing it, because the amount of punishment you guys put on each other is ridiculous. And to have two people do this, these are human beings, do this.
I'm going to tell you what's crazy is that this is not even put in the categories of like Jose Luis Castillo, Diego Corrales, Arturo Gotti, Hagler versus Hearns. Nobody really, honestly.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because it deserves to be there. And these guys,
yeah, they deserve it. I mean,
to get like ahead. Yes, they do.
Yeah, they do, because absolutely. I mean, if anything, they left everything in the ring in this night between the two of these guys. Brandon Rios, I knew from the beginning. Everybody knew. I mean, everybody knew. If you are a fight fan and an avid fight fan, you watch fights all the time. You know that guys with that style, Brandon Rios, that they're very short term. So you need to embrace them right away. You gotta love them because they're gonna dish out everything. They're the kind of fighters with blood and guts. They're the ones that leave the stains on the canvas, and then they're gone. Just like that. It's a magic trick. Here we are, and there we go.
I think you're absolutely right. I don't know if it was this fight or one of the fights on Showtime. Actually, I think it was the one before. With, we were watching the Salido one with Wama, where the commentator said nuts and guts. Like, that's what you're going to get from guys like this. Nuts and guts, dude. Like, they're always going to bring it, for better or for worse. And that's why I always tell people, like, guys like Mickey Ward, we mentioned before, or like Salidos that have like multiple, sometimes double-digit loss records, there's nothing to be ashamed of. Because every time they show up, they're going to try to do something to you, and you're going to get fireworks. And you just hope that, those fighters remain safe. But they're consummate professionals. They're professional prize fighters. And this is why we love boxing.
Here we go in the second round again, man. There's no step back from either one of these guys. Everything's close in quarters. Both guys are trying to sneak in an uppercut. And like I said, there's the science between these two is whose shorter punches are going to create more damage to each other. Rock and sock'em is the only way to describe this match in 2 rounds right now, in the first minute and the second round at this moment.
I totally agree. And if you look at the way Alvarado is shooting the uppercuts, and now Brandon Rios is now starting to follow suit, and Alvarado's using a jab every once in a while to space himself out and try to land uppercuts. Alvarado, when he was sharp here, because you could see his reflexes and his timing was really good, and his mental state looked really, really sharp. I mean, he landed some really explosive combinations, but Rios trying to be crafty as well, jabbing off, hooking off the jab, uppercuts there. See that now? This is what I love, the uppercuts.
Well, right now, I mean, they're landing some good shots. Alvarado took a step back through his right hand. It were clean, but then Brandon just came back with a right hook of his own. And it's one of those fights, man, when one punch lands clean and flush, you go, ooh, but at the same time, right when you're saying, ooh, the other guy's throwing a clean punch. So sometimes if you're in a crowd with folks, I remember this happening when I was watching this fight. Everybody, I would be like, oh my God. And then they'll go like, who are you rooting for? I mean, I thought you were going for what's his name? Well, fuck, at the moment, both guys are landing clean shots. It's hard, it's hard for your to waver for the guy you're rooting for,
There is no doubt about that. A good fight's a good fight. We're boxing fans. We're rooting for a good fight. The only times I really ever felt like ridiculously upset was when Holyfield lost and Roy Jones. Those were my heroes growing up. I felt legit like just sad about it. But a good fight's a good fight.
Oh my God. That's a beautiful body. That was a beautiful body shot from Brandon Rios, man. And then he follows it with a beautiful right hook to the head of Mike Alvarado. And you got to just think right now, Mike Alvarado's chin, dude, is pretty solid. D-Style, very good inside fight, dude. Phenomenal inside fight. Which is very, very honestly, I'm gonna tell you this. A lot of folks don't know this. Inside fighting is one of the most tiring things you can do. Why? Because you have somebody either equally in weight with you or a few pounds heavier than you putting their body on you as well. And then when you're throwing inside those punches, trying to get it in between not just your gloves, past your chest and in between their gloves, there's friction there. So you're actually just, not only you throwing it, you're pushing it up to force it to get through so you can land at the target. So very, very tiring when it comes to inside fighting. And these guys were pros at it.
Physical grappling too, the leaning on. It's uncomfortable to fight inside like this. Like, see how they're leaning on each other like that? It's just not a comfortable thing to deal with. And especially when you're exchanging bombs, because these guys weren't throwing light punches. People might watch this and take it for granted and be like, maybe they weren't throwing that hard. No, they were throwing hard, because if you watch their hips and you watch their leg positioning, in particular with Brandon Rios, even though he squares up a lot, what he's doing is really fighting off his back foot and throwing some hard right hand. Right there, he landed one at the end of the round. He's turning over and pivoting off his back foot in a solid position, not moving around, but staying very stable.
Absolutely.
That was a hell of a round. That was a hell of a round right there, man. These guys really gave us their all. You could see it right away. Like I said in round one, when they came out and just met in the middle and they just started, there's nothing they could do. Whatever these corners are telling their fighters, there was no way this fight was going to go a different way other than what we're seeing. These guys were just going to get in front of each other and just rock out.
Yeah,
There's no
look,
way around it.
We're going to this is the third round coming up right now, and both guys, you can still see they look fresh. Whereas with the first fight we watched between Juan Lopez and Orlando Salido Siri, in the third round, you could see the worried look on Lopez. He realized, I'm in a real fight. These guys expected to be in a real fight. Really quick, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the like button and hit that notification bell so it notifies you when we go live. We're going to be on every Sunday night, 10 p.m. here on Beer Boxing Quarantine. And as always, we're going to bring 3 classic fights here so we can chop it up and have some nice cold brewskis.
Salud. And I love it, David. Thank you for having me on. And we got a lot of shows coming up, too. David does a lot of great content, as does Kurt and Evan on Leave It in the Ring. I got some good shows coming up as well. And I'm just so happy to be a part of this family, bro. Thank you.
Speaking about Kurt, man, from Boxing Esquire, he's got a great interview that I haven't listened to, but he just sent me the MP3 for. I'm going to be posting up with Steven Espinoza, the president of Showtime Sports. He's asking some questions about what's going on, the quarantine, how it's affecting them. Devin Haney, next fights that we should see coming up on Showtime when everything blows over and things get back to semi-normal. So I'm really looking forward to that interview, which should be posted first thing in the morning here on Leaving the Ring and on YouTube.
I've been meaning to listen to that. That's on my things to do list. Unfortunately, Steven Seagal and Cobra Kai and martial arts movies have taken over my life. And, of course, doing some podcasts of late. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to that. That's awesome. So right now we're in round number 3 here, and I think it's an even fight at this point. I give it 1-1. What do you say?
I don't know, man. That's pretty tough. I'd have to go back. Honestly, I wasn't even scoring it. I'm just kind of, being hypnotized in the inside fighting between both men. And I think it's something that, honestly, even when it was live, it was something to be appreciative, not to sit there and go like, okay, I think this guy won. I mean, most of the times when there's a lot of action, for me, to speak for myself, when there's a lot of action, I don't even score it. I don't even care about scoring it. I'm so caught up in the drama. I'm so drawn in. You get some folks that are really kind of drawn in, and they're like, their eyes are fixed on whatever action is happening in a Star Wars flick or a soap opera or novella or anything like that. But when it comes to boxing, man, when I got something like this where there's high stakes and two guys, you could see they're really trying to take their heads off, as we're seeing right now. Both guys are landing just phenomenal big shots. One guy lands a big head and makes his head swivel back. The other guy does the exact same thing. I get so invested, so consumed, so, drawn in that I don't even care what is happening, not just with the surrounding of me, but about even thinking about scoring what they're doing at the moment, because I'm really just soaking in every punch. And right now, again, I forgot how good of a goddamn fight this is.
This fight is ridiculous. And I remember it heating up even more so. And what I do is I like to kind of look at the rounds. Like sometimes I'll do exactly what you said. Like if a fight's so compelling, and this is probably one of them. Like I didn't have a scorecard at my house when I had a big backyard barbecue party with 20 people. And, I remember this night, I had a great setup in my backyard, and we were barbecuing at fire pits and watching this thing. And I used to set up a tent with surround sound and big screens and all this type of stuff. But every once in a while when I go back and analyze a fight like we're doing right now, the musician, the technical side of me comes out, where I like to analyze things and observe. Yeah, this is pretty ridiculous work.
There you
right
go.
Now,
Mike Alvarado just turning it on. He knows that he rocked Brandon Rios when he was trying to get in a sneaky overhand right, and he just opened it up. Rigondeaux and Ceja was kind of this fight. I was yelling at at Rigo. Let me post it back up here again from D-Style saying, I was yelling at Rigo to just box for 2 rounds, then said, fuck it, I'm going to enjoy it. Dude, that was the same way. And I remember I had my wife was sitting down watching the fight with me, and we were both right on the edge of our seats and stuff. And, I remember my wife turned to me and she goes, isn't this the guy that all these guys, media guys complain about and somebody that you like? And I go, yeah. But this is when Rigo said, F it, signing on with PBC. I think the change of mind frame for him was I'm going to go out there and I'm just going to give people what they want. But then in his last fight, he was trying to do the same thing, and he decided, what, I'm going to go back, revert to my old style, which is box, which he's a master at. But I agree with you, D-Style. That was one hell of a fight from Rigondeaux, who, to me, I've always enjoyed. He's a masterful fighter, but the crazy part is so masterful, but he knocks guys out with crazy fashion. But for some reason, just never gets the recognition.
I'm going to say this about what we're watching right now. That was a very telling round for Rios in terms that I think Mikey was winning the first part. But Rios definitely put his hands on Alvarado that round, man. And
they're both cut. We're not cut. I mean, look, I don't know if it's cut from Mike Alvarado. That's a That's a bad leather burn on the side of his eye. I don't know if it's cut yet, but it looks pretty blistered up.
Yeah, Alvarado on the left side, and then a little bit with Brandon on the right. Oh, there's some nasty.
And Brandon is just prone to cuts and bruises. I mean, he's got a lot of scar tissue just because of his fighting style.
Oh yeah, I mean he just goes all the way. He doesn't hold back at all, and that's what I love about him. Even if he gets outboxed, and as we've seen later in his career with things, he's always given the best he could, and that's all you really ask from these guys.
And on Letterman's card, he was winning. Alvarado was winning 2 out of 3, only giving Rios the first round.
Yeah, I could see that. It's one of those type of fights. I mean, how do you really score this? It's so competitive and there's so much action, and it's just nonstop. I mean, for me, Rios has a little bit of an advantage in terms of backing up Alvarado overall, just like the feel of the fight. Not the actual point scoring, just like the fact that he's pushing the fight, he's making the fight, and sometimes he takes it like he did right there. He got nailed with an uppercut. He's gonna have to be a little bit more careful about that. But it's one hell of a fight in the 4th round right now, and it's anyone's fight to win or lose.
Mike's doing a really good job. I mean, he's working the body, he's working the head, and now he's not even doing the phone booth. He's fighting at a distance where he can get off with his range and try to catch Brandon at the end of his punches, which he should have been doing from the beginning, just because the fact that he's a taller guy, lankier guy. Brandon likes to hug himself. That's what the style he has. It's a hug. He likes to hug himself, keep the elbows in tight, keep his fists up close to his shoulders and close to his chin, and he likes to walk in. He doesn't necessarily, if you watch him, he doesn't necessarily, wave in. He likes to kind of like trump in.
It's a great observation, and he's definitely trying to distance himself in this round, is Alvarado against Rios. But Rios just with that unrelenting style where he just comes in, he just doesn't want to take no for an answer. And some things that Rios is doing too, he's jabbing with him.
Woo!
And that has to confuse Alvarado because he's like, wait a minute, this guy's got a jab too? And now you see Rios fighting from the outside. So it's just a mind game, dude. It's complete mind games what these guys are doing. Oh, wow.
So when this fight happened, let me ask you this. Were you in Jersey or did you already live in Las Vegas?
I lived in New Jersey. I was having a fight party. Every Saturday night, whenever there was a big fight or just fights in general, I'd have my buddies over. Usually a group about anywhere between 10 to 15, sometimes 20 people. We fire pit, barbecue, set up a tent. I'll send you some pictures. And I had all promo stuff from when I worked events. So I had Everlast promos hanging up from the tent, big boxing gloves, surround sound. We did it big, bro. We did it the way we were supposed to, the way you're supposed to do it, And those are times I miss, dude.
Here comes Brandon, man. I mean, that was one thing about him, dude, is he was like Jason from Friday the 13th in the ring. You think you'd have him landing some easy shots, and the guys just keep coming and coming. His arms with his machete.
His will and determination is second to none. And that's why I love fighters cut from his cloth. And Mikey Alvarado, too, he's doing it in a different way. Mikey's trying to be kind of
both street
more
kids.
Intelligent.
Yeah, both street kids, both trouble backgrounds. Boom, look at that. Oh, my God. How much do you think this fight affected these guys? They didn't seem the same after this war. Bro, I mean, look at it. I mean, right now you could see just these punches here. If you could see the sweat fleeing off these guys, I mean, if there was HK or even more at this time, you could definitely see it. I mean, you got to think that this took a lot out of these guys. I mean, look at that.
There's no doubt, and I think we saw that, not to give out spoilers, but I think we saw that as their careers progressed, and you could also tell body language, speech, and just how someone focuses their eyes when they talk to you.
Yeah, no one had up on any of these punches, One guy lands something big, the other guy lands something big, And here's the thing. Think about this. Brandon Rios, always being bigger than guys at 135, has always, I mean, even though he was getting touched, getting hit because his head didn't have any movement to it, he'd walk down his opponents. He still would win rounds because he was much bigger. He was able to walk down guys so easy. Mike Alvarado, too, very big guy, very tall, lanky guy, big punch, So to see both these guys not take a step back, to see both these guys, landing big shots. One guy lands one, the other guy lands another. If one guy lands two, still the other guy lands another of his own. This was a very back and forth. And like I said, it's crazy that we don't hear Rios and Alvarado up there in the roster of top classic big fights in terms of inside fighting like Gotti and Ward, like Barrera Morales, number one, Corrales and Castillo. This was very up there because of the fact that these guys were inside fighters.
I could not agree more. And the thing was combination punching too. That's what makes wars. When you see people landing 2, 3, 4, or even throwing out like 6 at a time and getting 2 in, this is what makes war. And we saw that again from round 1. They don't stop. And I love their thought process. Like if you see here, like on the replay we're looking at, is that Alvarado shooting a left hook, but he's thinking about his next move. And then Brandon Rios comes back and counters and thinking about his next move. It's high level fighting. Some people, will say, oh, this ain't boxing. This is like rock'em sock'em robots. This is fighting. And I think this is why we like this so much.
Very technical fighting and stuff. When Walmart got tired and he was getting tagged a lot, you saw him get really sloppy. Here, these guys are still fighting very tight. Elbows are still in. They're making every punch count. Offense may be out. Defense may be out the door, but the offense is really their defense at the moment.
There's nothing you could do otherwise. Because I think at this point in time, they both know after sharing all these rounds together that this is the only way it's going to go. Every once in a while, Mikey Alvarado tries to separate himself and shoot the jab and all that kind of stuff. And then Brandon Rios just finds a way to get him back to the original plan, the original plot. Inside. And what I like about Rios on the inside, too, is that he holds a nice high guard. And I always thought that was very important to do on the inside. You want to definitely keep that high guard. And he blocks his body really well with his elbows. But Alvarado, man, just keeps coming with that uppercut. Just keeps coming with that thing. Double jab. Alvarado is definitely feeling himself in this round, man. But then I noticed there's a pattern here, is that with Mikey, that he'll start off really good, but that pressure bothers him.
Beautiful shots right now from Rios, man. He just,
right.
Mikey's doing a lot. Mikey's letting his hands go. It's not like Mikey's not doing. It's not like he's not letting Rios or the Honest know that he's not there because he's throwing punches and he's throwing that workmanship. But you get the sense that Brandon's punches are just they have a little bit more sting to them.
He pivots better and he's closer. Mikey tries to separate himself and throws from the outside a little bit, which I believe takes.
I don't know if he pivots better. I don't know if it's any of that. It's just that the punches, or when they're thrown, the snap of the head is more telling. Where Mikey right now, with Mike Alvarado right now, he's throwing punches. It's just not doing that effect. Right now it did. It finally made his Brandon's head turn, but the uppercuts, when they're inside, you could just see that the damage is more. And that could be the reason why Mike Alvarado is fighting at the outside, because guess what? Going into the 5th round, you could tell that Mike Alvarado is losing the phone booth war.
The problem is that Mikey's not having the same effect is because he's moving a lot and he's not able to plant his feet. And that's what I really should have said about it.
Well, he's not planting his feet. And that's what I mentioned right now. He finally realized he's losing the phone booth war. So he now reverted into fighting on the outside, which is getting some success. And right here, he's just letting his hands go. He's letting his hands go, and he's letting his hands go from desperation to tell Rios two things: stop coming forward, and I'm trying to hurt you.
Absolutely. He's trying to keep him off of him and just give us like let him know like, hey man, I'm still here and you can't just do this to me, because he did take a great amount of punishment, did Alvarado, in this round, man. He's getting hit a lot.
That would have been a great fight, man. Rios versus Walma Marquez at 135 D style. I would have loved to have seen that. Yeah, I mean, talk about fantasy fights, which I hate talking about because you never know. Mike Alvarado raising his hand, going to his corner. But talking about that fight, I don't know about what you guys think, but I think that Walma Marquez probably would have won that fight just because he knew how to. I mean, he was used to guys coming forward. That was kind of tailor made for him. I don't know if he would have been able to stop Brandon Rios, but I think he would have stopped him on cuts.
I think that, he's one of the best Marquez in terms of like boxing intellects I've ever witnessed to watch. Like he's up there in regard to my favorites. Like he's like a brainiac boxer. If you watch like again angles and how he puts combinations together, like I hold him in the same high regard as a comparison. Like one of my favorite drummers of all time is Neil Peart from Rush. I think he's one of the most like intelligent and sophisticated drummers ever. I see like Juan Manuel Marquez, that guy. Like
I agree. At 140,
brilliant fighter.
D style say or 140. At 140, I would give it to Brandon Rios. And the reason I want to give it to him at 135 is because he drained himself. I mean, dude, he looked so gaunt. I mean, the guy looked like a skeleton in the weigh-in. And I think that he would be more prone to cuts. At 140, I think he would be a little bit bigger, stronger, and I think he would be able to walk down Marquez, And this is pre-Memo Heredia for Marquez. If Marquez had Memo Heredia, it's a different story. But pre-Memo Heredia, I would give it to Brandon Rios at 140 against Juan Marquez. Here we go into now the sixth round between Mike Alvarado Mile High and Brandon Rios.
Great fight. Both guys, I mean, either which way you swing it, whatever you prefer, like scoring criteria-wise, I mean, they're right there neck and neck. Either which way. Both guys are in this fight right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think you would have to give it to Mike Alvarado. I mean, he's doing what he wants to do. He was fighting in the inside, beautiful. But I think he realized Rios is a stronger guy, and he's chipping away. That's the thing about Rios. He's not. He's not a jackhammer, but he's like a minute. What is it? He's a drill hammer. He's just taking chips and chips and chips and chips away, And like I mentioned, he's like the Jason of the boxing ring, where his arms are machetes. He just keeps coming forward. So Mike Alvarado, seeing that, okay, he's got really good success in the inside, which you're seeing right now. I'm going to try it out from the outside, and he's doing good work. But the thing is that it's like a magnet because Brandon Rios is so easy to hit. You're just attracted. You got to be so disciplined to stay in the outside like a Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao was able to stay in the outside and maneuver around Brandon Rios. Never got sucked into trying to sit there and trade with this bull. Mike Alvarado, you see right now, Mike is like, I'm a bull too, and I'm going to trade with you. And that's what's giving us, right now, that's what's giving us a very exciting sixth round. Both men are just letting their hands go. Both guys are really throwing out the defense. This is strictly on offense at the moment.
100%, and that's what's definitely bringing in Mikey to want to have this type of fight against Brandon. He's like, I'm having success. I could hurt him. And we got to understand, too, that Alvarado at this point in time was 33-0, and he was a significant power puncher, so he had every reason to believe in himself to go after Brandon Rios, And he's just fighting the type of fight that we're seeing. And at the end of the day, you start getting tempted because you know that the pressure's coming on you too. Like, because Mikey's taking shots, so he's like, I got to keep this guy off of me.
Woo! Nice, beautiful jab from Mikey right now, man.
There you go.
You
You
know,
got to keep them off, and then you also want to fight fire with fire. So this is one hell of a gamble for both guys right here.
yeah, and right now, Brandon, those little shots don't look like a whole lot, but that's what you call just chipping away, taking little bits of the wall of Mike Alvarado at the moment. Mike Alvarado is trying to take big chunks at Brandon Rios. And those definitely do count because you got to say that's taking a lot out of Brandon Rios, who's always been the bigger character in the ring. But those little chips that Brandon's throwing there, man. Oh my God! And then occasionally he throws these big shots there, and that's really because Mike Alvarado's trying to take that half step back, and Brandon's just catching him.
He doesn't allow him to get that distance that Mikey wants. Brandon's not allowing Mikey to get that distance he wants. And it's one of those things where he's just, again, forced to just fight this type of fight that doesn't serve him best here in this round that we're seeing. Wow. Just great exchanges. I mean, these guys gave so much to this fight. Great work from Brandon Rios on the inside, man. He really knows how to shoot to the body and the head, especially not off of one hand, but both.
You finished
Right
that?
there.
Did you end up finishing that beer that's bigger than your head?
Just about, brother, just about. I'm ready. I'm ready for the next one. I got another big one over here now.
Oh my God! All right, now
How about you? How you holding up? What do you got? How many?
I'm going
how many
back to
deep?
the Union Jack here, man. But I'm telling you, they're pretty good. They're pretty good, dude. The only thing I'm gonna tell you right now, what I don't like about IPAs is that it makes your mouth dry. So I sound like my voice. I'm losing my voice, and I'm not. I'm not losing my voice. It's just that it's drying up and all that.
Well, for me, it's my allergies, man. This allergy season out here in Vegas has been really rough. Like, knock on wood, we're all in good health.
Yeah, bro.
We're all in good health, and I feel great every single day. I'm taking my vitamins and doing all the type of shit that's necessary, washing my motherfucking hands all the time, like I tell everyone. But my allergies have been messed up this year, bro. And so even before getting on air tonight, I did a vitamin C thing, and I took a bunch of hauls just to clear out my nasal cavity and my throat to remain clear because it's been really rough.
Hey, did you see that your boy Dan Raphael is now writing for Boxing Scene? His contract ended on ESPN, and now he's over at Boxing Scene.
I did see that. I like Dan. I always think he tries his best. He's very informative. He's a go-to source. Like if something breaks, like with ESPN, he was great at that. Hopefully he has the same success at Boxing Scene. I respect Boxing Scene.
He broke stories? I don't think I've ever read anything that he broke.
Well, in terms of just whenever I went to ESPN and you wanted to get the updated news on some kind of things that were going down in the boxing world, I always felt it was I was confident it was reliable to a certain degree. But there's times we all drop the ball, it's just happened on my side of the fence too. All right, so we're in round number 7 over here now.
I read Dan's stuff here and there. He wasn't my go-to guy and stuff. Good to see that he's over there. Do stuff. Yeah, it's nice. He went to Boxing Scene. Let's see what he can do there. That's definitely a different beat.
Right. He might have more freedom. Yeah, he might have more freedom.
I don't know if he's going to have more freedom, but he's going to definitely have to produce a lot more when it comes to Boxing Scene because they got a lot of writers.
Yes, they do. Very good site. I like that site a lot. I also like The Athletic, where our boy Rafe Bartholomew's at. And he's obviously, a great friend and a supporter of our show. But I would like him regardless, even if he wasn't a supporter of our show. I think he does great work with Brian Campbell on State of Combat and also at the.
I don't know if he did this Boxing Scene D-Style. I'm not sure. Look, I didn't have a very pleasant encountering with Dan Ruff. And the reason why is because he didn't respect YouTube. I remember meeting him, and I went to go introduce myself, and he just kind of gave me this look and shrugged me and stuff. And he did that to a lot of folks, But do I hold that against him? Nah, I don't really care. It is what it is because he's not the only one. Trust me, he's not the only one in the boy club, the good old boy club, who I had like Marcos from Fight Hub. We talked a little bit about that on our Stack Up show. There's this. I don't know. There's this like hatred for digital and YouTubers. And doing that, I was doing podcasts and YouTube. I came from YouTube originally. There was like a lack of respect. I remember having Kevin Aioli and Kevin Aioli, dude, who I call Beaver. Oh, beautiful!
Yeah, I
And
was
here
gonna
comes
say
Brand
right now,
Rios, man. Let's
popping
look at
off
this.
right now.
Forget the
Brandon
other
Rios,
shit.
yeah.
Oh, there he goes, man. You just turn it up right now.
Oh, look at that pivot. There it is. Great shots from.
And this was a
Brandon
great
Rios.
stoppage. I mean, Mike Alvarado, even though the war in him wanted to keep going, you could see it in his face, man. He was done and stuff. Let me see. Let's go with.
That is a great stoppage. That was so necessary because I think this fight automatically changed him as it was. And if they let that continue, it would have been worse for Mikey Alvarado.
Would
Maybe
Dan
not
get his
against
first
another
dibs?
fighter.
D-Style saying they would Dan get his first dibs on conference call still? I think so. I think so. I think that Dan's shaked enough hands with the people in the boxing industry. I mean, what, it's been over 20 years, maybe? 20 years or something like that in the boxing business, in writing. So regardless of whatever platform he goes to, he's going to get that same respect. It's like with Steve Kim. Steve Kim, was from Max Boxing, went to another site, UNC Live or whatever it was called, and then he moved on to then he was on Boxing Scene, and now he's on ESPN. I mean, it still gets that same respect and stuff. So I mean, that's to be seen with Dan Rafael. Is he going to get first dibs? I don't know,
Mike
but
Alvarado's
I think he will.
face here is so bad. Mike Alvarado's face is so
Both
bad.
guys' face, man.
I know, but if you just saw that little clip there with Mikey, man, like both of his eyes. One thing I remember, you asked me about, like, if I was in Jersey at the time. I do remember this night very well because we all had a good time, obviously, drinking a lot of beer, barbecuing and whatnot. Look at that face on him. Oh, man, so bad. I love what Brandon Rios said afterwards. He's like, he was asked, will you do a rematch? He's like, if you want it and if the public wants it and he wants it, fuck it, let's do it. I was like, yeah, brother. And I thought that was a great quote. And I remember, like, I had, like, chicks over the house at that time too that normally would never give a fuck about boxing. That by the 6th round, they were just like, Jesus Christ, this fight is amazing. I'm like, yeah. And that's always good when you get those randoms that come over and they're just into it because it's that good. You can't refuse it. And that's what this fight was. It was just so good. You can't refuse it. As far as Dan goes, I mean, we'll see what we get. What he does with Boxing Scene. That's a great site. So I'm sure they brought him on for a reason. I've never met him personally. I've been around him, press row, but I've never like stopped and I'm not that guy that just approaches people randomly. So I never really had any kind of personal contact with him. But let's see what he does. Let's see what happens.
I don't know what's going on with the Hamed and Sanchez. I mean, it was working fine, but it's not working. I'm trying to figure out.
Okay.
But if not, let me see if I can.
So we'll fill some time up in here. I'll BS a little bit with the people. Basically, we all want to know in chat rooms or whatever what you guys want to hear, emails from Leave It in the Ring, especially like these boxing, beer boxing and quarantine shows. What kind of fights do you want us to run back? What are your memories of fight parties? Because for me, fight parties was my life. I'd work all week as a business owner, and I would look so forward to coming home on a Saturday afternoon because I worked about 6 days a week.
So I apologize. We can't pull up the Hamed and Sanchez. I don't know what happened.
Okay.
It's just not. It's not coming up. So I'm gonna put up Alfonso Zamora and
Yeah, let's do it.
a classic fight, great fight between two little giants here on beer boxing and quarantine.
Sounds good, man. I'm looking forward to it. So you guys that were looking forward to the Hamed and Sanchez fight, I'm just going to let you know we'll save that for another point in time, and we'll just move forward with this one here.
Yeah, I agree with you, D-Style. They say boxing is like chess. It is until it isn't. You can't will yourself into victory playing chess.
I tell you what, man, the best fight party. Oh man, he's got a point there with De La Hoya Vargas. That was a big one.
That was a great one, man.
Because you know why? Because that fight was awesome.
It was, and I was like, I think I've told this story like numerous times. I was the only De La Hoya fan at this fight party. Everybody else is a Fernando Vargas guy. I just wasn't. I'm gonna tell you this, man. I loved Fernando when he came out of the Olympics, but then once the kid started talking, it just turned me off. You know, and it was like, dude, can you shut it? You still need to accomplish things. And I've always had problems with fighters like that. You talk too much, and like I just want to see what you can do. And when he was, if you listen to his story with about De La Hoya, it always kind of changed. It always changed. You saw that there was jealousy there. So it was a great, great fight. Damn, Dave.
Well, you know what the thing was for me for Vargas is that it was kind of like fanboying a little bit. Trying to get De La Hoya attention at that point in time. Obviously, he respected De La Hoya growing up, coming up as a kid. How can you not? Like
well, he
look at
fought
De La
everybody.
Hoya. Yeah,
He fought everybody.
Absolutely, some great wars, and what better name to try to get on your resume for a win to set yourself up for not only great money but legacy.
Yeah. And that was just really quick. That was really weird. In the first round, a fan jumps in the ring between Zamora and Zarate, and it was like he was doing the Enter the Dragon. Like please let me demonstrate.
You know what that reminds me of?
And the police right there, look it. The police right there are not giving this guy any love. This guy would have made it in this a time and year, but in those times, man.
I tell you what, I'm struggling to keep my composure here. This guy's get up reminds me that of I don't know if you remember the old school UFC fights when they used to wear like high tops and sneakers.
Yeah.
And like,
I can picture
that
doing
guy's
that,
wearing.
man. I can picture you still doing something like that.
I tell you what, man, that's crazy though that actually happened. It's like what's going on right now in modern society. Everyone's doing like the Zooms and the meeting chats and like the Skypes like we're doing right now.
Woo, man, that's great. You want to talk about right now?
Zoom bombers.
Right, and you want to talk about inside fighting and keeping your hands close to your ribs and high up earmuffs. These guys were classic fighters. Both guys were undefeated, and both guys were power punchers. So there was a lot of stake between these two little warriors here that punch like heavyweights. And as you can see right now, they're just letting their hands go.
Quick, high pace, excellent. Combination between inside fighting, outside fighting, positioning, everything. You're getting everything that boxing is.
Bang! Beautiful,
everything
man.
That boxing is right here.
Sound like Jim Lampley right now. Bang, 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 bang.
Try to stop it. Bang. You want more? Bang, bang. I thought that was crazy. I remember where I was for that fight party too. I was in my man cave back in New Jersey, chilling out, a bunch of people over the house. And when Jim Lampley lost his mind with bang, 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 with the Pacquiao fight, that was ridiculous.
I know. I was at a house party at a friend of mine in San Jose, a Filipino guy, Phil. And Phil was a great guy, man. I don't know what happened to him. He ended up moving and stuff. But Phil, anytime he saw this guy, he would anytime he would say something, he ended it with, yeah! What? I don't know. He'd be like, hey, he go, hey, bro, this is a great fight. Yeah.
That's amazing,
Do me
actually.
a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
Right?
Some people got those ticks, man. You know, I don't
Well,
want
you
to
got.
make
Hey, I noticed you have a tick. You know, absolutely great observation. We all got it, bro. We all got it. You know.
Yeah, everyone's got their go-to. You know,
Absolutely. Oh
you
shit!
know,
Oh my god! I
absolutely
just sent yours.
great observation.
Yeah, the Bang Bang woke up people. You know they did. But you know, I'm gonna tell you right now, when Jim Lampley did that, everybody in the house said this. It was like it was sync.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get
It
out
was
of
so
here,
funny.
man. Shit,
There,
I'm
there's
saying.
certain calls that happen over time, guys. That the Roy Jones, he ain't gonna get up, Jim. He ain't gonna get up, Jim. That's one that stands out. I'll never forget that moment with Manny Pacquiao on Marquez 4. That was one of them. And Jim Lampley Bang Bang though, I think that might be the funniest one ever.
D Styles Boxing, his is on when he's doing his show on his YouTube channel. His is yeah, for sure.
Yeah, everyone's got it, and I realize it too when I listen back to shows, that I do with other people and whatnot. I'm like, that's another one I do too, and whatnot. We
Yeah,
all
I do
have
that
our
too.
things,
I say whatnot.
yeah. You feel me? Like that's what I go to. We all got them, but I was gonna say I have a friend that had like that we used to call. I don't want to give his name out, make him feel bad or whatever, but we used to call
What?
him his name in 4 times because everything he did it 4 times. He had to do everything 4 times. Turn the lights on and off 4 times.
What?
It was like a Goodfellas. Like when I'm gonna go get the papers, get the papers. But
I want to get the papers. Get the papers.
he had to do everything. And I love you, homie, if you're listening, bro. Like my man, he knows what's up. He has to do shit 4 times, no matter what it is. If we gotta
You know,
get Slim
that's
Jim,
that's
he needs a
just,
Slim Jim. He can get
you know
4 Slim
what's
Jims.
you know what's crazy is that if you really think about it, like the Italian mobs, they all had nicknames, right? Uh, uh, Jimmy Sticky Fingers, uh, 2 times the dude. I'm gonna get the paper, but like Mexicans, the same thing. My cousins, I have a cousin named Hippie, I got a cousin named Moki, and people will go like, "Oh, so what's their real names?" And dude, I'm stumped. I'll be like, "Fuck, I don't know. I don't know their real names." My dad's nickname is Gallo Negro. So when we go to family reunions and people introduce me to uncles and aunts that are way older, right? They'll go like, "Oh, this is my dad's name is David as well, so I'm Junior," and they'll say like, "Oh, this is Big David. This is Big David's son, Little David," and they'll have like this look on their face like, "Who?" And then you go Gallo Negro, and they're like, "Oh, Gallo Negro, oh, you're little Gallo," and I'm like, "No, I'm not little guy. I'm just David, man."
So meanwhile, we got this fight going on over here. These guys are throwing hands, man, hard. A lot of energy.
Oh, this is a great
What,
fight, dude. This is a
what made you
phenomenal
want to
fight.
bring this one up? What made you want to bring this one up?
I've been wanting to
Curiosity.
bring this one up because this is one of the fights that my grandfather and my grandpa was, a very passionate boxing fan. Not only was he like baseball, soccer, it went in this order: baseball, soccer, boxing. Okay, but boxing was really something that we connected, you know, and this was a fight that he just truly loved. It was in the '80s, I believe. Yeah, I think it was in the '80s. Yeah, it was like in the early '80s, and I was really young, but this is like one where I literally witnessed my grandfather, who was a very conservative, simple guy. This is the only time you would see him get so animated, you know, and that's I think that's what really drew me to the sport because I saw a different side of my grandfather, you know. where you saw him get mad and happy within a split second in the sport. And in this one here, in this fight, my uncles and my grandfather, you saw like split seconds of them getting excited because there were two Mexicans getting in there and they're just going all out. So you want to talk about being divided, like when Fernando Vargas and De La Hoya in the house. This was the same type of fight, you know.
Boxing will do that, and that's why I asked you, David. When you see a classic fight like this, I figured it had to be attached to some kind of memory. And I have so many great memories. Like for me, it was watching like Mike Tyson with my dad back in the day, hanging out. And wow, that was a hell of a shot just landed.
Hell of a shot. And they've been doing this throughout every single round, you know. You want to talk about workmanship? I mean, these guys condition. These guys were conditioned to go 12, 15 rounds at this time. But, I mean, look at this, man. And there he goes.
Wow.
Yep. Slipping shots, but timing was everything. And really, D-Style, this is work from the double end bag. For eye coordination, this is not hand mitts. They're doing a little pity pats, this is really from just doing very traditional workouts. The head slipping, but at the same time throwing punches and timing guys with that head movement because they were working those bags, those double end bags.
Again, great observation.
Every time you say that, we got to take a swig. Cheers.
That's it. Every time I say a great observation.
He said it again.
All right. Now that so here's what's up. You're absolutely correct. Hand-eye coordination. I'm a drummer, man. And whenever I started boxing, I was already a drummer for many years. And I was good with the double end bag and also the speed bag. And you're absolutely correct. That double end bag gives you great timing and focus and moving back and forth and keeps you sharp. So again, great observation. So,
beautiful, man. Absolutely. You see guys with the bigger balls, which would be like the 12-inch, and then go 10-inch, and then go smaller. Eric Morales. That's why Eric Morales was so phenomenal, where he could lean in and then throw his shots, and he was leaning in, catching you. Oh my God! Oh my God! Look at that, nasty man. Beautiful. And there goes in the white tail right there. And the manager jumps in.
Oh.
And that's Zamora, I believe, that got dropped right there. It's been a long time since I've seen this fight here. And a lot of emotions.
Yeah, man. Craziness. Like a lot of fireworks in the corner there. Body shot. A lot of emotions in general. You can see it right on cue. Like people coming in. It was that type of fight. Like it was very interactive with just the attendance.
And look at all the Q-tips in there right now, trying to calm things down in the ring.
Yeah, man, this is craziness. Do you remember the craziness that was Galata and Bo 1?
Oh man,
yeah, that was probably one of the worst riots.
You know what? The riots. I remember Jim Lampley's daughter was getting lost in the crowd because she was there in attendance. And he couldn't find her, but he kept it very professional and, walked through the whole thing, talking about the fan man, Holyfield, Bo, and like I said, there's the winner, Carlos Zarate. That was normal. I don't know about you guys in your guys' household, but that was normal for us in watching the fight because, I don't understand why many folks, I mean, it's a gentleman's sport. It means that, meaning that there's two guys going to go in, they're going to dish it out. But no one ever mentioned that everybody else was going to be gentlemen about it. See riots break out. I mean, this is boxing.
It's a fight.
It's just the way it is.
There's going to be shit talking. There's going to be things like we opened the show about before, and sometimes people go too far, and I don't condone that type of behavior. To talk shit heavily and disrespect someone, a stereotype, or even infuse a riot of some sorts. But when, I remember I was doing a radio show when people were talking about Khabib, in the UFC and Conor McGregor. and they were like, "Man, can you believe what happened there when Khabib, rioted and hopped the fence?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? These guys are fighters. Like, I don't
Right.
care how much money they make. Like, there's passions." Conor was talking shit about this guy's religion and his father. So there's
Right.
a lot of buildup. Like, it's not just about money for some of these people. Like, they really hold it in a high regard to honor what their belief system is. So when I see shit like this happen, I say, hopefully no one gets hurt. Am I surprised? No. With the Bo Galata thing, I'm not surprised either because Galata, had no reason to beat the shit out of Riddick Bowe's balls the way he did after he was winning
That
the
was
fight.
something different though. Like it was like he was off. There was something off about the guy who
I believe
honestly
that.
had a lot of skills, man. A lot of boxing skills, and it just something just went off with the guy. D-Style, you guys should do 3 fights that have some type of right next week. That's a great idea. I was actually thinking
Not
about
a
doing
bad
like,
idea.
yeah, it's not a bad idea. Now, actually, was thinking about doing like some of the every year some of the best knockouts. Because every year going back from going back to like you say like let's say 90. Let's go back from the 90s. I mean, you got some really brilliant knockouts that have been voted as knockout of the year. So I was thinking of doing that, picking a couple of good like 10, because it's only going to be one round that we're going to show of great knockouts and just talk about that, man. But yeah, dude, that is a great idea. The riots and stuff, we'll have to look into that.
Off the top of my head, talking about the knockouts from back in the day when we were coming up watching the sport, is Joey Gamache and Arturo Gatti. Oh my God. That was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. I remember where I was. I'm going to give you guys this story real quick before we wrap things up. I'm sure we're getting to that time. We're going on 2 hours, and I'm thankful that we are because I always love this, and I could do 5 hours if you wanted to, David. But bottom line is, I remember I was at my ex-girlfriend back in the day, college, and we turned it on HBO, got some Chinese food, and I just witnessed one of the worst things I've ever witnessed in my entire life while eating that Chinese food is Joey Gamache getting outweighed by like 20 pounds.
Oh my God, I know.
It was so bad. Because in the first round, you can see it at the end of the round when Gamache is kind of like full. I'm like, what is happening here? And then when Gotti hits that 3-piece, I think it's a hook straight upper. I'm like, oh no, that was
Gamache
so
was trying to
awful.
sue that. I mean, if you remember that, Gamache it was a lawsuit because they, I mean, he outweighed him. I mean, it was a middleweight going in there, but a guy that actually made weight and stuff. I was laughing because D-Style had said he posted up here. He's Galata needed the ref for Morris and Adebeco. He would have won the decision. You're right, which was the referee Mora. Who's had some terrible nights. And how in the hell is he still reffing? That ref from that fight for Morris and Alberto. And I remember having Alberto come on that day, on that same fight, I believe it was, right? I think it was Alberto. Yeah, they came on leaving the ring after that. And then we had Morris on the following week. And I remember telling Morris, like, you got to keep it above the belt, man. Anyways, man, hey, thanks for guys tuning in to Beer Boxing and Quarantine. Had some great fun. Apologize we couldn't get Hamed and Sanchez on. Had some good beers. Like I said, the IPA. I'm gonna tell you, the only thing I didn't like about this beer right now, bro, is the aftertaste. I'm really tasting the aftertaste now from this beer. But other than that, it's really good beer.
Got to chase with some water every once in a while. That's what I do. Chase it with some water, or also some vodka club soda with a little pinky up over there.
That's a bit much for me, man. You know what I'm saying? Again, guys, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the like button. And don't forget to hit that bell that notifies you and lets you know when we go on live. Should be having a show come on live tomorrow on Leaving the Ring. I think I'm going to be posting the Before They Were Stars, the Chronicles of the Ring, which is Leaving the Ring, interviews that we've done in the past. And it's going to be Andy Ruiz. All right, man. You guys have a good night. Be safe. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.